If we sit back and do nothing, then shame on us. We deserve whatever's coming to us. This is not going to be a rose-colored glasses show today. I'm sorry about that, but we will be as honest as we can be. I feel like I've given credit to NASCAR and others that have deserved it a lot. When I have my conversations with Steve Phelps and say, listen, 80% of my podcasts are going to be very good for you. And then there's going to be 20% that you're just going to have to be, you guys are the big boys. You are the league. Sometimes the league needs to be called on a few things.
Hey there, racing fans. Today, we're diving deep into NASCAR's short track dilemma. From Martinsville to Richmond, drivers and fans alike are frustrated with the lackluster racing experience. While Hendrick Motorsports celebrated its historic win on the Martinsville track, drivers like Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, and more had a lot to say about the short track concerns. Even former drivers and spotters have pointed out what NASCAR should have worked on sooner. But what exactly is going wrong? And what are the ways suggested by the NASCAR community to fix it? Let's find out. Before that, do subscribe to the channel. The excitement of NASCAR's short track races seems to be fading away. Despite efforts to improve with the next-gen car, the racing experience at venues like Martinsville Speedway is falling short of expectations. Of the many things NASCAR has accomplished with the next-gen car, one thing it simply can't get right is the short track package. For a little more than a while now, the governing body has introduced and tweaked more than a few variations of a short track package, but nothing seems to be working. In last weekend's race at Martinsville, Joey Logano ran the first 184 laps on the same set of left side tires, and was able to lead despite the rest of the field having fresher left side tires than him. Also, when Logano caught the back of the field, he ran several laps behind Austin Dillon, unable to lap Dillon, who was running 33rd. Moreover, veteran drivers like Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch are openly expressing their frustrations. Hamlin did pit towards the end of the race in hopes of gaining a lot of places through the pack, or hoping that others would pit as well. But new tires seemed to do nothing against the old ones. It was almost like tire changes did not mean anything. He vented out about everything from Martinsville on a recent episode of his podcast.
So now you've created a next gen of cars, you've created a next gen of drivers. All drive the same because it's clear the optimum way to drive it. So how are you going to create passing? At the end of that race, I was trying my damnedest to knock Austin Cindric out of the way. He was holding me up bad. I don't know how many laps down he was, maybe one, maybe two. In the middle of guys battling for a race win, I couldn't get to him to knock him out of the way. I'm trying to knock this guy up the racetrack. Can't do it, can't reach him. So instead, I have to just sit behind him, let the laps just go away. That is a problem. That's why we don't have the cautions, the wrecks, anything that we used to have from back in the day. We can't even reach the bumper of the cars. The racing needs to be fixed. I'm not saying anything that no one is not going to be saying this entire week, and they've already said it. I'm sure the DBC guys will have issues with it. Certainly the teardown and the media have voiced their opinion already on it, and I agree with them. If we sit back and do nothing, then shame on us. We deserve whatever's coming to us in the long run. If you're NASCAR, you're going to say, well, we gave you a little different tire, and we gave you a little different air pack.
But it seems like anytime we have this conversation, the answer is always, well, we'll give you a little bit of different tire. But the result ultimately is the same.
It's relatively the same because you're not, until you make a horsepower or tire or shifting change, you will have the same result. You're right. We keep tinkering with aerodynamics. I'm sorry, we're running 45 miles an hour in the middle of Martinsville. It's not aerodynamics. It's a horsepower to tire ratio. Until we get that through our thick skulls, it will remain the same. But it will have to come from the high ups at NASCAR to say, fine, we're done. We've seen what parity looks like. We don't like it, because that's why you have no wrecks. We can't even get near each other. It's just a conveyor belt.
Ahead of qualifying in Martinsville, Kyle Busch had also made his thoughts very clear on the short track package.
I didn't think we could make it worse, but by golly, we did. For me anyways, like maybe it's just because we don't have it quite figured out like others do, but I cannot follow anybody in front of me whatsoever. It doesn't matter if I'm in the bottom lane, the middle lane, the top lane. If there is a car in front of me, I am terrible, really bad. I will say the only positive to it is that you can slide the back of the car around a little bit more and not crash, but the front ends are just ungodly, not working. It doesn't matter because they're not going to do it, so it don't matter. I'm not going to paint myself in a bad spot to get in trouble.
NASCAR spotter Freddie Kraft was stunned by almost non-existent tire wear at Martinsville. The veteran has seen NASCAR in its early days and claims that the tire situation at Martinsville would not have happened in any era.
I mean, it would be unheard of years ago. We had 100 laps on our tires. 100, we pit with 102 to go, and the green-white checker. It was a green-white checker, so we had 102 laps plus, whatever those yellow laps are.
You were pitting.
You had to come. That was unheard of to stay out on old tires like that. Especially with I think there was 14 or 15 cars in the lead lap at that point, and that kind of played into Denny's. I was reading Gabehart's comments about why they pit, and it was basically like, well, we already have 2 wins. We're not going to win from 4th on the same tires. So if them guys all stay out, you might as well come, because 4th and 10th are essentially the same to us. You're giving up in the grand scheme of things, just trying to. And Denny, their hope is probably that if people see Denny coming.
So, what's the root of the problem? Many attribute it to the lack of tire wear and passing opportunities. With the current setup, cars struggle to generate power, leading to unresponsive handling and minimal overtaking. As the discontent grows, everyone agrees that something needs to change, and voices within the NASCAR community are calling for action. Denny Hamlin, who openly shared his frustrations on his podcast, asked Dale Earnhardt Jr. for help.
Get NASCAR's car, get Dale Jr., and get him to go to Richmond, get him to go to Martinsville, and test tires. He gets to pick out the tire that we run. It'd be great publicity. This is Dale Jr.'s tire. Let's see how it does. To go out there, because he's angry about the tire as much as I am. He brings it up just as much as I do. We clearly are missing the mark. Goodyear is missing the mark, and we clearly know that having a tire that falls off, we've seen it. Bristol gave us the evidence that says this is better.
Dale Jr. is just as passionate about the failing short-track racing situation that NASCAR faces. Through the help of social media, he ensured Hamlin and everyone else that he was open to helping the situation the best he could as a driver. Hamlin was one of the many drivers who believed that the tire makers would have a good idea about what tires to get to short-track races. When horsepower is low, tire wear has to be the compensator, but that was not the case at Martinsville or even Richmond. Where will Goodyear go from here in terms of the short-track tires? Only time will tell. Moving on to what NASCAR officials thought about the situation and had to say about it. With little to no visible difference after 4 races utilizing its new aero package for short tracks and road courses in the Cup Series this season, NASCAR admits it's got more work to do to improve the quality of racing. The issue has been especially apparent on the 3 tracks 1 mile in length or less in which the package has been used so far in 2024, Phoenix, Richmond, and this past weekend at Martinsville. NASCAR VP Elton Sawyer shared a few words about the situation.
As far as the product on the racetrack, I think we can't lose sight of the fact of what happened at Bristol a couple weeks ago. I think we're not naive to this. We as NASCAR want our short track package to be better. We want that racing to be at the level that super speedways and our intermediate racetracks are today. I promise you, we are working as hard as we can with Goodyear, and we need to work harder. What we learned at Bristol, and also what we learned the first 30 laps at Richmond last week on how that race unfolded. The tires and the way they wear and the way the drivers have to manage that and the tire fall off is really what we're trying to achieve. Will give us the short track racing that we're all looking for. And the surface at Richmond, the surface at Martinsville, the surface at other short tracks around, it's not a one tire fix all type, solution. So we have to continue to work, and we're not resting on anything that we did yesterday. Today we're going to be digging on this again and working on solutions and trying to get to a better place.
Despite the clamor for change, NASCAR is hesitant to make drastic adjustments. Yet, with mounting pressure, a shift in approach may be inevitable. As we look to the future, one thing is clear: the soul of NASCAR lies in its short track races. And there you have it, folks, the short track dilemma saga from Martinsville. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, keep the conversation going on. Lucky Dog on Track.